Hi, I just want to take a second and show you the lesson that we taught today in our lesson. I forgot to record it, but that's okay. I'm going to do a quick lesson here so that you can watch it when you have a chance. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go over two lessons that we worked on this today on Monday, March 30th. So we've been learning with our shapes. In Seesaw, you have an activity called Copy My Pattern. And this recording is going to tell you a little bit about that. And then we're going to extend what we know and learn a little bit more about patterns. What we've been learning up to this point is that patterns can repeat. And if patterns repeat, we can see, for example, when we took the time to be pattern detectives, that if we spent the time and really examined and studied a pattern and looked for the clues, we could decide if it was a repeating pattern or not. This one, I see a square, rectangle, square, rectangle, square, rectangle, and I can hear that repeating. And another way to do that is to assign them secret code names. Now, instead of assigning them numbers, I'm going to assign them letters. So every square, I'm going to assign the letter A. In every rectangle, I'm going to assign the letter B. Now let's read the code names. A, B, A, B, A, B. And so now you can hear that repeating pattern. So it's your turn, after you have read a pattern, to use any shapes that you want to make another A, B pattern. With my tools, I have lots of shapes to choose from. In our lesson today, a student chose star X, star X. And notice that that makes the same type of A, B pattern. If I was to label this pattern, it would also get A for every star. And since I don't have any more stars, I'll stop there. And all my X's would be B's. And I don't have any more shapes that need a secret code name. But what I do see is that both of these follow the AB pattern. When we look at our second example, it's a little bit different. If we're going to use secret code names and I give every triangle the letter A, and then I go back and give circles the secret code name B, notice you see a pattern that repeats A, B, B, A, B, B, A, B, B. And so for this example, you would again pick some shapes and design your own pattern with your own shapes that also follows the ABB rule. ABB and ABB. On page 2 of Seesaw, you'll see a chance where you get to do it all by yourself as well. That's the first part of our lesson today. Now I'm going to move on to the second part of our lesson. The second part of a lesson is when we talked about looking at repeating patterns. And so, for example, 9712, 9712, we see again another example of a repeating pattern where you could circle the core and you could test and show that it repeats over and over again. And in your other activity today, you were able to make a pattern that matched the repeating pattern that I showed you. But I want to talk to you about a different pattern. A different pattern is a growing pattern. So not all patterns repeat. Some repeat, but some grow. And when they grow, they can grow bigger or grow smaller. So let's take a look at the pattern here. Let's read it out loud and see if we notice anything. 40, 35, 30, 25, blank, blank. As I'm reading that out loud, I notice that these numbers are getting smaller. I don't hear anything repeating, so let's do a test to see if we're right. If they're getting smaller, that means I've started out with 40 and I must have taken something away. So to go from 40 down to 35, what did I take away? I took away 5. 40, subtract 5, and you would land on 35. But let's try that test again. Is it true that if you have 35 and you take away another 5, that you would land on 30? It is. And if you're on 30 and you take away 5, do you land on 25? You do. So we're starting to discover that the rule for this pattern is that it's not a repeating pattern, but that it's a growing pattern, and that this growing pattern means that it's changing and getting smaller and smaller each number as it appears, and that there's a rule, and the rule for this pattern is to continue to subtract 5. So let's try it here. What is 25 minus 5? If you're thinking 20, you're right. Let's continue again. What is 25? And use the rule. What is 20? And use the rule minus 5. What's hiding behind this spot? It's 15. So today's lesson talks to you about how their patterns just don't repeat, but they could also grow. And when they grow, they change from a bigger number to a smaller number. They could also change from a number to a larger number. Let's read these out loud. 6, 10, 14, 18. I don't see any repeating. I don't hear any repeating. And each one of these would get a different secret code name, A, B, C, and D, with no more repeating. So this tells me this might be a growing pattern. So let's do the test. To go from 6 to 10, what would I need to do? This is where we try to discover what the rule is. If you said 6 plus 4 is 10, then you're right. That might be our rule. So let's try it again. What is 10 plus 4? If it's 14, then it passed the test. So let's continue with that rule. What is 14 plus 4? If 14 plus 4 is 18, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, it passed the test. So I think we've discovered the rule for this one, and you can use the rule to figure out what are the next two items in my pattern. 18 plus 4, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's 22. And 22 plus 4 is 26. We'll work more, we will work more on our patterns and looking at, are they repeating, are they growing, and if so, what's the rule? All right. If you have any questions, just let me know.